What's up, guys? It's Hot Wheels Tournaments, and today we are going to be grading the 2024 Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunts. I did a video last year on why I thought Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunts were kind of failing and not as cool as they used to be. It was pretty controversial. A lot of you guys agreed with me. A lot of you guys did not agree with me. I think 2024 has been better than probably the last 4 or 5 years we've seen. So I wanted to revisit that conversation, grade the Super Treasure Hunts, talk about what I have seen improved, talk about what I think still needs some work with the Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunt line. So we began with the 2024 A case. We started off with the Ford Escort RS2000. This was a new model last year. Hot Wheels likes to do that. They like to take the new models from the year before and give them a premium treatment in the next year's line as Super Treasure Hunts. I think that's a really good idea, and the Ford Escort RS2000 was a good choice for that. I think this is a really fun casting. I just wish they would have had a little bit more fun with it. This is a classic rally car. It is classically associated with rally car racing in the auto world racing, and they went ahead and just made it plain. Now, plain Super Treasure Hunts can work, and we'll see that later in this video, but that was one of my complaints. I think too often Hot Wheels is going the plain Super Treasure Hunt route when they could have more fun with the car. This is a prime example. It's a classic rally car. It had a really fun deco when it debuted last year in 2023. It gave us 3 really unique colors. We got a fantastic red edition from it. I wish they would have done something fun this year for the Super Treasure Hunt. Maybe base it off a real-life racing livery, as they often do, and I think you would have had a certified banger. Instead, it's pretty good. It's not as great as it could be, though. The green's really pretty. The wheels work really well for me, and it's going to get a passing grade. This is a B car. It could have been better, yes, but it also could have been so much worse. The plane in this case plays it safe. You're going to get a good grade, but you're not going to get a great grade. We move then to the 2024 BK Super, the 2018 Camaro SS. I think the classic muscle cars from the 60s and 70s translate much better to Super Treasure Hunts than the modern ones do. I also don't think they executed this one super well. I think the Spectra Flame Black is kind of hit or miss on most Supers. Having seen this one in hand, I think it works, but it's still not the most exciting color. I think if this one was like a Spectra Flame Blue, it works a lot better. The orange accents are a little bit meh. The wheels they look a little bit off to me. I feel like they could be better. I feel like they could be worse. All in all, it's an okay Super in my opinion. I went ahead and gave it a C+. Could have been better executed, maybe a more exciting model choice, but it works, just fine. Just fine. We move to the C case and kind of keep with the trend of a so-so start to the year, the BMW 507. Like we said, a lot of those new models from the year before get made into Super Treasure Hunts so they can get a premium treatment. I don't think this was a new model from 2023. A lot of people were banging the table for it to be a Super Treasure Hunt. I think about the 1971 Porsche 911 Turbo that was like made last year, and that deserved this Super Treasure Hunt spot so much more than the BMW 507. From everything I saw, the BMW 507 pretty much peg warmed everywhere it was at. Nobody on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, where they post Hot Wheels, was really banging the table about how awesome the BMW 507 was. If you're gonna go with a Euro spot here, I think that Porsche deserved the spot way more. There were new models last year that were way more interesting that could have taken the spot. Instead, they went with something that a lot of people kind of forgot came out, and then the execution on it was meh too. Spectra Flame Gold is pretty hit or miss for me. In this spot, I just don't think the 507 looks that good in gold. They give it some like classic racing stuff, but they don't fully commit to it. You just get some ugly numbers on it that look really out of place, and I think it's just really poor execution. We're going to go ahead and give this one a C. Probably could have given it a C minus. This is just a very meh Super, and I think most would agree. From there, we began to pick things up. So like I said, some Super Treasure Hunts work well plain. This is one of them. This is the 89 Mercedes-Benz 560 SEC AMG, the legendary German muscle car. And this is one of those Supers, it's just so classically associated as being like having a stock, mean look that you almost have to do it plain. You don't want to add any extra decals or stripes or, racing stuff to this that would make it look a little bit weird or a little bit gimmicky because it looks so good stock. And I love the choice to pair the red wheels with the red Spectraflame paint. The red Spectraflame paint was already a fantastic choice for this car. It already looked big and mean and aggressive. They could have gone with black wheels, but instead they said, what's the one thing we can do to elevate this car? We're going to give it red wheels, and it is going to look just absolutely incredible. For that reason, this is the first A of 2024. Absolutely fantastic execution here. Sometimes making a car look stock and making it plain is safe. Sometimes it's exactly what you need to do. This was one of those cases. We move there to the 2024 E case, where we get the 60s Fiat 5000 Modificado. Gosh, that's a little bit hard to say. Anyways, this is a car that moved from premium to the basic line this year and gets a Super Treasure Hunt treatment. Personally, I really like this choice. One of my complaints with Super Treasure Hunts is sometimes they kind of pick lame cars. This is not one of those. This is a little racing 60s Fiat. That's a really cool choice. Like I said earlier, Spectraflame Gold, pretty hit or miss. I think in this spot it hits just because of all the stuff they pair with it. This does everything well that the 507 didn't. You take a classic Euro car, you make it gold, just like the 507, but instead of just putting some like vintage racing numbers that kind of don't really fit with the rest of the casting, they fully commit to the vintage racing livery. You get the checkerboard pattern on the roof, you get it on the side, you get the Italian striping on the hood and on the side, the big Fiat logo on the hood, you get some red racing wheels with white rims to pair. This just looks like a really fun, really cool car. I think this is a good choice. I think it's an even better execution. We're going to give this an A-. This is a fantastic Super Treasure Hunt. And one, I've opened a couple E-cases so far this year, and I've been really mad that I've not been able to find it because the regular version is okay. It's in like this pale yellow. It's all right. The super version is where it's at for this casting. It elevates the regular version so well. This is a great choice and fantastic execution. From there, we move to the F case. We have the 71 El Camino. This Super Treasure Hunt is very much in vein of like the early 2010s Super Treasure Hunts. In the early 2010s, when this line was really coming into its own and Hot Wheels hadn't really diversified its lineup that much, you saw a lot of classic American cars because that's what the lineup was made up of. They had stripes, they had silver wheels, and then they would get these flamboyant colors of pink, of blue, of green, of red that would just make them stand out. They looked like they were fresh off the lot of muscle car meetups, and that's what this looks like. The pink is all right. I'm not really a fan of this El Camino casting. I think there are better Hot Wheels ones out there. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a B-. I think the casting choice could have been better, but I think this is a nice throwback to the early 2010s. I like the striping. I like the wheel choice. I just wish, maybe we got a different classic car or one of the different El Camino castings because, in my opinion, those ones look better and are more interesting. We move there to the 2024 G case where we got the Audi 90 Quattro. In the same way that the Fiat was the better execution of the 507, the Audi 90 Quattro is the better execution of the Ford Escort RS2000 that we saw earlier, where that was a classic racing car that was left plain. The Audi 90 Quattro is a classic racing car that they fully committed to. They went full racing livery and deco for this model, and it looks fantastic. You get the full Audi Sport Racing throwback to the classic vintage Audi racing decos of the 80s and 90s. And they fully commit to it. They pair it with the wheel choice on this casting is fantastic. The wheels are what make it. You get a nice Spectraflame blue on there. It's beautifully executed. This is an easy A+ in my book. This is everything you want from a Super Treasure Hunt. You get a full deco treatment. You get a fantastic wheel choice that just elevates the regular version so much. The Spectraflame blue is good. It's what it should look like. The blue on the regular version is very close to this, so the Spectraflame doesn't do a lot for this casting, but in my opinion, having the rubber tires, having those two-piece wheels, just elevate this casting to a whole nother level. This is exactly what a Super Treasure Hunt should be. My complaints in the last one, they never would fully commit. Here they fully committed. They took a chance, and it looks really, really good. Speaking of fully committing and taking a chance, let's talk about the Volvo P1800 Gasser. Say what you want about this casting. It's not my favorite casting. I'm sure it's not most of yours. But you know what? If you're going to make it a Super Treasure Hunt, this is an outlandish casting. Go have fun with the deco. Go have fun with the car. And that's what they've done here. They went with a candy blue and pink combination, and it looks absolutely fantastic. That Spectra Flame blue, maybe teal, if that's what you want to call it, looks fantastic. Having a fully chrome engine looks fantastic. Having a pink window and pink accents on the decos and then pink trim on the wheels is so cool. This is such a fun Super Treasure Hunt, and that was one of my complaints in my 2023 video about what I dislike about Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunts. It feels like they're not having fun anymore. It feels like when they pick these weird castings that they just look super ugly or super plain, and they don't really try to make them fun or inventive at all. They did that with the B1800 Gasser. This is not a casting I would normally buy, but I would be very excited to find this Super because it is so wild and it is so cool, and I really like it, and for that reason I'm going to give it a B+. The casting choice is whatever, but the execution, the fun they're having, this is something straight from the Hot Wheels world. I really appreciate that. I appreciate them committing. This is a B+. We move there to the J case. This is the Mitsubishi. I'm totally spacing on the name because I don't really like it. I'm gonna be frank. I gave this an F. This is the opposite of the Volvo P1800. This is a whatever casting choice. Again, a model that kind of peg warmed last year, and it just turns out really ugly here. Like the Spectra Flame Gold and Copper could be a really fun color, but when you pair it with red tampoing, and you can see the striping and the TH logo on the side, they just blend in. There's no real contrast between those colors. You can't really see it. It's a relatively ugly color, and then you don't really elevate it. You just get the black wheels and the black interior. It just looks like a hunk of junk, in my opinion. This is not one a lot of people are going to be after or care about. This is one on the aftermarket you're going to see going for probably like 20-25 bucks. At the end of the day, it's a Super, but there's not really, it doesn't have much to offer beyond that. It's a Super Treasure Hunt in rarity only. Outside of that, there's not anything fun or cool. This is the one casting and the one Super this year that I'm really down on. I really don't like. It's the only casting that's going to score worse than a C-. I'll tell you that right now. Just blah. This casting, this Super Treasure Hunt sucks. I wish they would have done more. Because as you can see with the Volvo, they can do lame supers, lame cars, and execute them really well and make them really fun. This is not one of those cases. Let's move on to the K case where we have the Mazda 787B. This was a really fun choice. It's been in premium for a while. It came to the main line last year, and then they decided to make it Super Treasure Hunt this year, and I think it's a really, really cool choice. Again, you can see they use that copper color to much better effect here. You kind of get that dual coloring with the green and the copper that pairs really, really well together. I like that a lot. The deco is okay. I wish they would have had a little bit more fun with the racing deco. The green helped a little, but I wish it'd be a little bit more busy, maybe blend a little bit more with the copper than it does. The wheel choices are solid. You see we get that white wheel they used on the Audi, then you get a 5-spoke wheel in the back. You have the mismatched wheels, which I think is pretty fun. Overall, B. This is a good Super Treasure Hunt release. I think it could be better. I think there's room for improvement, but it certainly could have been so much worse. This is a good release. There's room for improvement, but I'm happy to see this as a Super. It's a cool choice. It's got good execution, not great. So yeah, perfectly solid choice from the Hot Wheels team here. We move there to the L case where we get the Pontiac Firebird. And this is everything you could have asked for. Like I said earlier, the Spectra Flame Black could be hit or miss. In this case, it is not. Choosing to do the Pontiac Firebird and Spectra Flame Black, great choice. It shows off just how cool this car is. But then they say, all right, we're doing a Firebird. We're doing it as a Super Treasure Hunt. We want to make it look as good as possible. Of course, we have to put the Firebird emblem on the hood. This is not a Pontiac Firebird. You do not see a Pontiac Firebird without the Firebird on the hood. They put it on there. It looks huge. It looks big. It perfectly matches the black. You get some nice accents on the side with that trim, the TH logo. You then get red rimmed wheels. This is an A+ Super Treasure Hunt. Like I said, classic muscle cars translate really well to Super Treasure Hunts, and when they commit to it like this, they give the black, they give us the trim, they give us the trimmed wheels, and then the Firebird to top it off. This is a fantastic release choice. It's a fantastic color palette. They could not have executed this any better. This is a fantastic Super Treasure Hunt, and this is everything Super Treasure Hunts can be, like I said with the Audi earlier. We then moved to the M case where we had the Nissan 180SX. This is one that's been a long time coming. It was an extremely popular new model when it came out in what I believe it was 2016. It's when I first started collecting. It was one of the first new models I ever found. Might have been 2017. But they released it in a fantastic red, and then it kind of had a so-so run. It got a lot of weird, gimmicky. It had a G-Ready car that was all right, and then it had a lot of gimmicky graphics on it. It's done a stint in premium, but for wherever it's belonged is to be a super treasure hunt, and they finally did it. We get a pretty plain version, which I'm not going to complain about. I think the best release of this car was the red one that was the new model in 2016, and now we just get a nice blue version. We get Spectra Flame Blue with some white trim. I really like the white wheels in this case. I think they are the perfect accent along with that trim. We're going to give this a B+. For whatever reason, I feel like something's missing. I think for me, it's just that 2016 version was so perfect and so good in red with the bronze trim on the wheels. It was so simple. It was so perfect. Another one of those cars, you don't have to do too much with it. For whatever reason, I think that first version's so perfect. So I feel like I can't appreciate this release as much as I could. I also feel like some of the cars I've given A minuses, A pluses to, this Super's not quite on the same tier. It's still a really solid release. Absolute B plus. This is going to be immensely popular among Hot Wheels fans, particularly the JDM crowd, because this is a really, really, really pretty release for this casting. We then move to N case, and we get what I believe, right? I'm running through. Yes, this is the only fantasy casting in the Super Treasure Hunt line this year. Every year you're guaranteed to get one. Every year there's one. Sometimes it's two, sometimes it's three. There are years, as like 2017 or 2018, we got like 4 or 5. This year it's only one. I'm fine with that. I can live with that. I think it's important that they do that because it might, when it's a lame, or not a lame, but when it's a less desirable casting, I think people are less likely to hunt as hard for it. I think it gives you cheaper options on the secondary market for younger collectors who might want to buy one on eBay or something like that. I think it's an important thing to do. And we get the Solera GT, which in my opinion was actually a pretty cool release last year. It was another 2023 new model that is now a 2024 Super Treasure Hunt. I bought the first release of it because of his Hot Wheels takes on an exotic hypercar. I think it was really cool. I mean, honestly, if you put some badging on this, some of the hypercars that are coming out nowadays, you might think this is a real thing. You might think this is a real car. Anyways, I think this is a cool fantasy casting to choose. I really like Spectra Flame Purple. I don't think there's a lot of opportunities to use Spectra Flame Purple on a Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunt. There's just not a lot of cars that would rock it or look realistic in it. So choosing to do it on a fantasy car, I think is really, really cool. I like the disc wheels choice here. The Deco with the number 9 Racing is but I like the color choice. I like the wheel choice. I'm going to give it a C. I don't feel like bagging on this car just because it's a fantasy casting. I think it works well as a Super Treasure Hunt. Yeah, maybe not the most desirable choice, but you get a cool color. You get some cool wheels. It looks probably as good as it ever will look. C, totally fair. Anyways, moving on to the P case, we have the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo. This is one of my personal favorite Hot Wheels castings of all time. This came out. This might be another 20 model that was a 2016 new model. Anyways, one of my favorites of all time. It has looked really, really good. I think this is a solid release for it. I think the Spectra Flame Red is good. Pretty much every release of this casting has rocked a pretty similar deco in how that number looks. You have striping on the side, you have the number, and that's really about it for deco. Maybe some accents here and there. And if you go and you look up what this car looks like in real life in its racing deco, they almost all have that striping and number on the side, and then they have more accents. I think that's Lamborghini mandated, so when Hot Wheels releases this car, they have to have a deco that conforms to this. I went ahead and gave it a B. I think there are more exciting colors it could have been in to be a Super Treasure Hunt. In the past, we have seen this car in green, we have seen it in blue, we have seen it in yellow. The Spectra Flame Red here with the black wheels just leaves a little bit to be desired, I feel like. And like I said, I wish there would be more accents to this car. Just the striping as kind of the deco is I wish there were a little more accents added in different places to give it a little bit more of a pop. This is a Lamborghini. I just don't get the full Lamborghini feel from it. Like where the Pontiac Firebird, you look at it, you're like, damn, that is a Pontiac Firebird. I look at this, I'm like, yeah, it's a Lamborghini. I'm not like, damn, that is a Lamborghini. So it's good execution, not great. based on that video, you know what that means. It gets a B. I think there's room for improvement. I think maybe you could have seen a more exciting color. I think like that Ford Escort, like Spectraflame green or the Volvo teal would have looked so cool on this model. Unfortunately, they went red. I think the red's just a little bit too dark, doesn't accentuate the features of the Lamborghini enough. So B grade in my book. We finished that off with the Q Case 83 Chevy Silverado, one of the Hot Wheels classics. This is an all-time Super Treasure Hunt callback, or not callback, but the 83 Chevy Silverado was an all-time Super Treasure Hunt way back in, what, 2014? When it was in gold and white. And we've seen this with Hot Wheels. They're starting to bring back some of those classic cars that were Super Treasure Hunts. We saw the Datsun Bluebird 510 wagon get re-released last year as a Super Treasure Hunt. It was in red with the vintage racing livery. Last year, they went wild in pink and white. With the 83 Chevy Silverado, they played it very much as they did back in 2014. That Silverado was a relatively stock look. You know, it was gold, and then it had some white striping with it, and it looked really good, and it became a classic. And Hot Wheels looked at that and said, you know what? We're not going to reinvent the wheel. People love this casting. They love it in classic looks. That is what has sold it for so long. Just that stock car meat look with some nice striping and detailing. And dude, it looks fantastic. Spectraflame blue with light blue accents look really good. You love that white striping down the side. You love that chrome wheel to pair with the chrome bumper and rear bumper, the chrome grille. I mean, it just looks awesome. This is something, and you like plopped it into like Barrett Jackson auction right now, you could see this on the auction table. You could see this on that stage with somebody, you know, bidding it off and the bidding going crazy. Or you could see this in your local like Denny's parking lot, you know, at the classic car meetup. This is very well executed. It's beautiful. It gets an A. You love to see it. This is absolutely fantastic. And again, great callback to those early 2010s Hot Wheels Supers, as we talked about with the El Camino earlier. Anyways, that's all for now, guys. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really encouraged about what I'm seeing with the Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunt line. I think we are having a fantastic lineup this year in 2024. It is certainly, in my opinion, probably the best lineup of Supers we've seen, and maybe for sure the last 5 years. Maybe the last 10 years. This might be the best lineup since I think like 2015, and the 2015 lineup will never be beat. 2015 was peak. 2016 was pretty good too. But I'm going to say this is probably the best lineup we've seen since then, almost a decade later. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Tell me what your favorite Super of the year is and which ones you hope to find, and I'll see you all later. Peace.